Dear students, in this lecture, we'll learn about the JavaScript, its introduction, what for it is used, its features, applications, etc. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a lightweight, cross-platform and interpreted scripting language. It is well known for the development of the web pages. Many non-browser environments also use it. JavaScript can be used for client-side developments as well as the server-side development. JavaScript contains standard library of objects like array, date, and math, and has a core set of language elements like operators, control structures, and statements. It can be used both on the client side as well as the server side. On the client side, it supplies objects to control a browser and its document object model DOM. Client side extensions allow an application to place elements on an HTML form and respond to the user events such as mouse click, form input, and page navigations. Useful libraries for the client side are AngularJS, React.js, Vue.js, and many others. JavaScript on the server side, it supplies objects relevant to running the JavaScript on a server. Server-side extensions allow an application to communicate with the database and provide continuity of the information from one invocation to another of the application or perform file manipulation on a server. The useful framework which is the most famous these days is Node.js. Now we'll see some of the features of the JavaScript. JavaScript is one of the most popular languages on the earth. With advances in the browser technology and JavaScript having moved into the server with Node.js and other frameworks, JavaScript is capable of doing so much more. Here are a few things that we can do with the JavaScript. JavaScript was created in the first place for DOM manipulations. Earlier websites were mostly static, means the contents were static. After JS was created, JavaScript was created, the dynamic web pages were made. Dynamic websites meaning is contents are changing dynamically. Functions in JavaScript is like objects. They may have properties and methods just like another object. They can be passed as argument and other functions. Through JavaScript, we can handle date and time. We can perform the form validation, although the forms are created using HTML. No compiler is needed. Now we'll see applications of the JavaScript. JavaScript can be used for web applications, web developments, mobile applications, games development, to prepare presentations, web presentations and slideshows, server applications, web servers, to display date and time, for client-side validations, display pop-up windows and dialog boxes, to animate elements, dynamic drop-down menus, etc. We'll see some of the applications of JavaScript. JavaScript for web applications. As day by day there is a continuous improvement in the browsers, so JavaScript gained popularity for making robust web applications. Take example of Google Maps. In Maps, user just requires to click and drag mouse. The details are visible just by a click. There is a use of JavaScript behind these concepts. JavaScript for web developments. JavaScript is commonly used for creating web pages. It allows us to add dynamic behavior to the web page and add special effects to the web pages. On websites, it is mainly used for validation purposes. JavaScript helps us to execute complex actions and also enables us the interaction of the websites with the visitors. Using JavaScript, it is also possible to load the content in the document without reloading the web pages. JavaScript can also be used for mobile applications. Nowadays, mobile devices are broadly used for accessing the internet using JavaScript. Using JavaScript, you can also build an application for non-web context. The features and uses of JavaScript make it a powerful tool for creating mobile applications. The React Native is the widely used JavaScript framework for creating mobile applications. Using React Native, we can build mobile applications for different operating systems. We do not require writing different codes for iOS and Android operating systems. We only need to write it once and run it on different platforms. JavaScript can be used for the game development. JavaScript is used for creating games. It has various libraries and frameworks for creating a game. The game can either be 2D or 3D, two-dimensional or three-dimensional. Some JavaScript game engines are Physics.js, Pixie.js, help us to create a web game. We can also use WebGL, Web Graphics Library, which is the JavaScript API to render 2D and 3D images on browsers. JavaScript can be used to prepare the presentations. JavaScript also helps to create presentations as a website. The libraries such as Reveal.js and Bespoke.js can be used to create a web-based slide deck. They are easier to use, so we can easily make something amazing in a short time. The Reveal.js is used to create interactive and beautiful slide decks with the help of HTML. These presentations work great with mobile devices and tablets. It also supports all of the CSS color formats. The Bespoke.js includes animated bullet lists, responsive scaling, and a wide variety of features. JavaScript for server applications. A large number of web applications have a server side to them. JavaScript is used to generate content and handle HTTP requests. JavaScript can also run on servers through Node.js. The Node.js provides an environment containing the necessary tools required for the JavaScript to run on servers. For the web servers, a web server can be created by using Node.js. Node.js is event-driven and does not wait for the response of the previous call. The servers created using Node.js are fast and don't use buffering and transfer chunks of data. The HTTP module can be used to create the server by using the createServer method. This method executes when someone tries to access the port 8080. As a response, the HTTP server should display HTML and should be included in the HTTP header. The JavaScript has various other uses that helps us to improve the performance of the web pages. The other uses of JavaScript are client-side validation, displaying date and time, to validate the user input before submission of the form, open and close new windows, to display dialog boxes and pop-up windows, to change the appearance of HTML document, and to create forms that respond to user input without accessing the server, etc. Okay. So with this, we finished our introduction of the JavaScript and its applications. Thank you.